the New 80s Revolution with Jason Nupp, a one and all show full of fun where anything can and does happen. Pickups, fan mail, toy reviews, camping with the New 80s Revolution Jr. Whatever the heck else does not fit into a specific category, Jason covers it right here, folks. And now, the host of the New 80s Revolution, Jason Nupp.
What's up, guys? Jason Nupp, New Age Revolution, down here in the cave for another top 5 episode, a top 5 extravaganza, if you will. We're rocking these. These are horrible, by the way. Won't be looking for any sponsorship from these guys. Cacti agave spiked seltzers. 7% alcohol. So when you get that high of an alcohol content in some of these seltzers, they sting. You can taste the alcohol. They kind of taste a little lighter than a Four Loko, which is like drizzling, garbage. Four Locos are horrible, and these are you kind of get that taste. I like the seltzers. I like there's new vodka seltzers. I like those. Those are fine. But this isn't bad, or it isn't good. Come on in, Finn. Not good. You got to drink like 4 of them to even like have interesting flavor or want them. Anyway, okay, great. All right. Today, right now, top 5 television shows of all time. That's right. We're not going to say the top 5 TV shows of the 80s because 3 of my shows were not from the 80s. One is from decades before the 80s, and the other 2 are decades after the 80s. So not my top 5 shows of the 80s, my top 5 shows of all time, plus a whole bunch of honorable mentions, because the top 5 lists are difficult because there's so many that could go on them. I have so many television shows that I love. And so that leads me, before we get into the top 5, come on in. Before we get into the top 5, we'll talk about my current television watching habits. You are already aware of them. Here, move these. Don't spill on these. I don't watch modern TV. I don't watch any of it. I was the last person on the earth that was going to agree to get rid of cable. I thought that I was always going to have cable of some kind or satellite of some kind, but it became a complete waste of money, a complete overpriced pile of garbage. And so we have given in to the streaming. So we have like Netflix, we have Hulu, we have Disney Plus, and we have Discovery Plus, which is cool. Come on. And we have Amazon Prime, so we can watch some stuff on Prime. I have Shudder, horror channel, which is pretty awesome for like $4.99 a month. So we have no like way to to scan the dial. Pluto TV is pretty awesome. That actually has a guide and has lots of channels. But all the channels are themed. So like there's a Baywatch channel. There's a Unsolved Mysteries channel. There's a Vintage Game Show channel, which is pretty awesome. So that's the closest thing that we have to, cable style television. And I could not tell you right now what the hottest show on network TV is. I could not tell you what's on. I could not tell you what is on ABC or CBS or NBC or Fox or anything. I think The Simpsons are still on. I think Family Guy is still on. I don't know. I don't have Fox anymore. I have no idea what's out there as far as sitcoms, dramas. I'm sure there's a bunch of like hospital shows, Chicago ED or something like ER. I don't know. Some of those crappy shows. I'm sure some version of CSI is still on. But I don't watch anything. I watch all classic television on DVD only. I don't stream any classic television. And movies. And the Yankees. I have the MLB package, so I can watch the Yankees out of network. Well, it's weird how it works, but so I got that. That's it. Haven't seen ESPN in years. Haven't seen the USA Network. I mean, we don't have it anymore. So I don't watch any modern TV. We started flipping through Discovery Plus, and Liam and I started watching Expedition Bigfoot, which is cool. Liam, me, and his mother enjoy the Expedition Bigfoot. Finley, what do you watch on cable? You guys watch Dude Perfect?
Yes.
On the YouTube. You guys watch Dude Perfect. You watch something called The Stage Creator on YouTube. He does a lot of stop motion wrestling matches with his figures. So that's it. Like, television has changed dramatically over the years, and I gave into it. I always thought that I would have Time Warner or Spectrum or Dish or DirecTV. I always thought that I would just be able to jump on the TV and grab the remote and check out the local news or whatever. But it's gone, and I don't miss it at all. The prices are stupid for garbage. There's garbage TV. We already talked about that. In an episode of Whatever Happened to Television. All right, so today, my top 5 shows of all time in no particular order. That's not true. There is a top 3 and a bottom 2. Now, the first 2 that I'm going to mention are definitely 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. It doesn't matter. They're both equally awesome. My first 3 shows are all tied for first. So the 3 shows that I'm going to mention are all tied for first. I can't choose one out of the 3. And so we're going to do that. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at some of these awesome vintage TV commercials from the good old days. Check these out.
Premiering Sunday, April 2nd, Dallas, where money buys power and passion breeds conflict. Between the oldest son, his neglected wife, the ruthless yet gracious parents, the rebellious granddaughter, and the youngest son, who married the wrong woman, tearing the family apart, exposing the secrets they had hoped to hide forever. Larry Hagman, Victoria Principal, and Patrick Duffy star in Dallas. Premiering Sunday, April 2nd.
Here we go. My bottom 2 favorite top 5 shows at all time. Okay? And the reason for that is the first 3, I can't choose a winner, so they're all number 1. So, my 5th favorite television show of all time is Seinfeld. That's right, Seinfeld. I did not watch Seinfeld in the 90s. I knew about it. I heard about it. All the kids were talking about it. But I never, ever watched an episode of Seinfeld while it was airing in non-syndication, while it was airing, live. Never watched an episode. Never. And only started watching it after it went into syndication. And, it's the best. It's just, the thing I'm so strange. There are shows that I can, lay on the couch and almost, feel very, very comfortable and very, very safe and very warm. Like if I'm sick, or if I'm just napping all day or something like that. And Seinfeld is one of those shows that eases physical pain. It eases mental pain. If you watch Seinfeld, the depression goes away, the anxiety goes away, and it's just incredible. It's fantastic. It's some of the best writing of all time. Maybe the best comedy writing of all time. Make sure you throw out those gums.
I can't get them out.
They're stuck? Wow, Liam's opening a pack of cards and the gum. This is my man Upstate Johnny. Ooh, we might ruin this.
Duplicate.
Upstate Johnny gave me some Magnum PI cards, which we might talk about Magnum PI in a little bit. Oh, there we go. But the gum is still stuck to the card. Okay. Yeah. Oh, 2 of them are still stuck. Ugh. All right. So, Seinfeld. Yeah, like I said, best comedy writing I've ever seen. And kind of a show that you fantasize a little bit about. You're have kids for the last, 9 years. You know, you're married for the last 100 million years and live in a house with a bunch of people. And sometimes you find yourself, at least I do, find myself drifting off and fantasizing a little bit about Jerry Seinfeld style apartment life, right? Just coming home by yourself, putting your sweats on, watching the baseball game, getting something out of your fridge at 2:00 in the morning, all the lights are on, like that sort of thing. If you have kids and you're married and you do all that stuff, you start to forget what that's like, and Seinfeld brings me back to, a little bit of fantasy life about what it would be like to live in an apartment all by myself. And, not that I don't love you guys, right? I love you as if you were my own children. But, sometimes I think about the Seinfeld apartment. You are my own children. You realize that, right? Okay. All right. Seinfeld #1, and in fact, we're gonna have an interesting pickups video soon, maybe in the next couple of weeks, because I finally Funko, and I don't. I let him do it. I don't collect Funko anymore. I'm so over Funko. I don't like Pops anymore. But they finally came out with Seinfeld Pops. And Entertainment Earth had them for pre-order, and I scooped them all up, every single one. And they also had these little mini Funko dioramas for Jerry's apartment. Those looked amazing. I bought all those. So I spent like $185 on a pre-order, and they are just starting to ship now. So I'll show them all off to you when they come in. I've already gotten one. I've gotten an Elaine. But there's many more to go, so I'll show you those. My second favorite show of all time, my number 4. We'll go with number 4 or number 5. I'm not ranking these two. These two are 4 and 5 equally. 5 and 4 equally. No ranking. The Sopranos, ladies and gentlemen. I know that these are not big surprises. We're probably talking about one of the greatest shows of all time, according to millions. But The Sopranos I can watch, and I do watch annually. Like, my nose itches. Like, I will, I have the Blu-ray set. I bought the Sopranos Blu-ray box set. And I will watch, save that gum, don't open it. That's an awesome little pack. Let me see that. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but my kids are opening old baseball cards. And we've got a Michael Jackson stick of gum from the Michael Jackson Topps card set, and they were about to break this open, and we're not opening that. That is a beautiful, usually it's just a piece of pink gum like these, right? But no, we got that. That is staying in the package right on my shelf. That's an awesome find.
You did eat one.
I did try to eat one of those ones. Okay, sticking with the top 5. Sopranos. Sopranos is one of those shows that like I said, I bought the Blu-ray set. I will start it. There's only, HBO shows, you had like 9, 10 episodes. You could fly through a season in like a weekend. And I will do that. It will take me like 3 months, 2 months to complete The Sopranos. And I'll just watch it over and over again. And I absolutely love it. And what can you say? I mean, it's probably the greatest show of all time. And Tony Soprano is just, one of the greatest characters in the history of television. As I watch more and more of it, I get to appreciate Carmela more, Edie Falco. I appreciate her role more and more. I mean, her acting is outstanding, just so great. There are annoyances about the show. Sometimes Paulie can be a little over the top. He annoys me a little. And, there are some less than great episodes of The Sopranos. And there are like blow-away, amazing, unbelievable, edge-of-your-seat episodes. And I did watch that live as it aired on Sunday nights. And it was a major tradition. And that was kind of the last time that there was any must-see TV for me. And that was like early 2000s was The Sopranos. And that was the last time I needed to be in front of the television. And it was Sunday nights at 9 o'clock on HBO. And sometimes you'd get like an hour-long episode, and sometimes you get like a 42-minute episode. You're like, what's going on? But, the finales, I actually love the season where Tony is shot and in the hospital for many of the episodes. A lot of people think that's, kind of a bad season or a boring season. I love it. I love it when he's like in and out of consciousness and takes on this Kevin Finnerty personality because, we get to hear Tony talk without the over-the-top Italian accent in that season. Really cool. Love it. Last episode, everybody's got their opinions about it. I've read about it, and did Tony die? Is he alive? I don't know. How are we to know? We're just guessing. There is no fact. I think David Chase might have come out and said that he indeed died in the last episode. He was shot there in the diner, but I don't know. Well, whatever. If David Chase says it, I guess but it didn't really happen, so we can't really say if it did or didn't. And then the death of James Gandolfini was really hard to digest, because he was when Gandolfini died, in my mind Tony Soprano was whacked. You know what I mean? Like somebody finally got him. He died, and that was hard to even conceptualize this larger than life, iconic character, could die. So really crushing. And I got to meet. I went to a Sopranos, like a traveling show they did. They came to Rochester. It was Michael Imperioli, Christopher. It was Big Pussy, and it was who the heck else? Tony's brother-in-law, Bobby Bacalieri or whatever. Those three actors came and did like not a stand-up, but not a comedy routine, but they sat on the stage and they just told stories and answered questions from the audience, and then you did a meet and greet afterwards. I got to take a picture with them. That was pretty awesome. All right, here we go. My top 3 television shows of all time, all tied for first, ladies and gentlemen. You guys already know one of these for sure. Number 3/number 1, Leave It to Beaver, from the good old 1950s. I will watch this show all the time. I will watch it from beginning to end, and there's about 246 episodes, and I will fly through all of them because they're like 22 minutes each, and I love it. I love the father-son dynamic of the show. I love how, Ward would, the style of dress back then, the hair, I love how, Ward would come home from work in a suit and change into a more comfortable suit, so that he could sit around the house in something more comfortable. And on those lazy Saturdays, he would dress in his just deplorable outfit of slacks and a sweater. That was his Saturday work around the yard outfit. And I think there was one episode where he actually wore a sweatsuit. He wore like a sweatshirt and sweatpants to really work in the yard. I love the brotherhood relationship between Beav and Wally. I love the fact that they shared a room together. I love the fact that they were really each other's best friends, even though they all had friends of their own. Just great, The early episodes where Beaver is like 6 years old, those are fun because he's just a cute little kid. And then you watch them grow up and just and I know that life wasn't really all that perfect back then. I'm sure that there were problems and drugs and police arresting people and stuff like that. But you get to escape reality a little bit with the Beav and the Cleavers, and enjoy their home and the mom, her role as a family matriarch, and the dinners and the breakfasts, and just I love Leave It to Beaver. I watch it all the time. My second/first favorite show of the 80s is The Wonder Years. Wonder Years I have not seen in quite a while. I own all of the series on DVD. I do not own the awesome school locker box set. That's an awesome piece, and it's like $300 on the Bay. I don't have that. I bought each individual season, and I haven't seen it in a while because it makes me cry. Every episode of The Wonder Years makes me cry. And I think it makes me cry more now that I have kids. but I got to force myself to watch it sometime because it's so great. So great. And even though it was in the 60s, an 80s kid could relate because nothing was really all that different from the Kevin Arnold 60s childhood versus the, New 80s Revolution 80s childhood. Very, very, very similar. The school adventures, the problems with friends, the Big Brother issues, and most importantly, the girl. Wonder Years is all about Kevin Arnold and Winnie, and them meeting in the not meeting in the first episode, but establishing their love for each other at, 9, 10, 11 years old in the first episode, and watching it develop and grow and separate and all through high school. And that is just great. It's just awesome. And a lot of the dads in these series are depicted as these hard, angry disciplinarians who work all day and come home angry. And Wonder Years is no different. Jack Arnold is the same kind of dad, but you always get these soft moments with him. You see some moments with Kevin and with his daughter and with his wife. There's a few episodes where they show, because they're like, he's a big gruff angry guy and yelling at everybody, but there's soft moments. And the brothers really fight in every episode, and then there's maybe a few where they're like close and showing their closeness, but then they're fighting it. Like Wayne was the worst. Jason Hervey was like the worst big brother. You got the nerdy friend, you got Paul, and that's great. And again, it just takes you back to elementary school and then into high school. My high school experience was nothing like Kevin Arnold's high school experience. He had a great time. Mine was dreadful, but elementary school, middle school, the early years, Wonder Years, just. And the music, and I'm a little concerned that my DVDs won't have the music on them, which will be horrible. I have not watched any of the DVDs since I bought them, and I have a feeling that there won't be a lot of music on them, and that's really one of the best parts of the show. There's a couple of songs that just, even if I listen to them today, it just takes me back to the Wonder Years. The best. So good. So good. All right, my number one favorite show of all time. You guys know it. Of course you do. It's the dastardly J.R. Ewing and the Ewing family as they run their oil empire in the city of Dallas, Texas. Lovingly TV show entitled Dallas. Dallas is my favorite show of all time. My first favorite show. One of three. All three are tied. Dallas is up there. Dallas, I remember my mom and my grandma. I think Dallas was one of the first must-see TV. The first, must-see TV concept. Because Dallas would often end every single episode with some level of cliffhanger. And then the seasons would end with actual legitimate cliffhangers. And we don't have those anymore. I guess. I don't watch TV. But I assume that modern TV, the cliffhanger concept doesn't exist. Where you have to wait with zero information till the next season to see what happens. And Dallas would do that at the end of every season. They would have massive, earth-shattering cliffhangers. The biggest of all time, and probably the biggest of all time television period, was Who Shot JR? And nobody leaked it. There was, and I'm not even sure, and I know this for a fact, that the writers of Dallas did not know Who Shot JR either. And they filmed multiple people shooting JR, and some of it was a joke, and they've included some of the bloopers. Like they had his mom shoot him, and they had his dad shoot him, and his brother shoot him, and they filmed all of those. maybe just for fun, maybe for, just in case stuff leaked out and they could change the story around if it got leaked out. I don't know. But nobody knew who shot JR until episode 1 of the next season. And everybody waited, everybody waited throughout the off season and just wondering and talking about it. And nobody was giving the information. Nobody was leaking it. There were no internet spoilers, and that just takes us back to a beautiful time when, stuff was just, it was just, you needed to sit in front of that television Friday nights at 10 o'clock and watch Dallas. You had to do that. But it's my favorite show. It's a great, all the characters, have their own personality, good guy, bad guy. You can see the good in everybody. You can certainly see the JR, the good and innocence in JR Ewing, even though he's, one of the worst bad guys of all time. The loyalty to family, so great. I don't know. And they lived on a massive ranch, like a massive compound where like they had their own security. They would host like a massive rodeo every year. They would host a massive barbecue. I mean, they were pillars of the community. Sometimes, evil pillars of the community, but pillars nonetheless. And I sometimes fantasize about that style of living, in that massive ranch with all that land. You're just living, you're in your own community on that land. You're in your own zip code. And the family members all stayed in the house. Like J.R. Ewing wasn't going to get his own house. Of course not. He lived on the ranch. He had like a wing of the house. You get married, you raise kids, you have them all on the ranch. They're there. You just move there. And like Bobby Ewing was the first one to question that. Like, I'm not gonna. Do I stay here? With when he got married to Pam, of course. But at the end, they all just lived on the ranch and family. Great, just a great show. I probably won't watch it again. I've watched it probably straight through 5 or 6 times. And it's a lot. It's like 14 seasons and there's a lot of episodes and some of the last few seasons drag a little bit and new characters come in and Dallas actually gets a little bit into the 90s, like 89, 90. And that's, it's still great, but it's not the Dallas of the early 80s. I got a huge Dallas collection. I've showed you guys before. Lots of memorabilia. All right, honorable mentions. Seinfeld, of course. So we've got the writer of Seinfeld, the creator, Larry David. He went and did his own HBO show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. You guys all know that. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I love it. I will laugh hysterically every single episode. It's brilliant. The writing is outstanding. The comedy is just, it's like, who can think this stuff up, right? Who can be as funny as Larry David? Nobody. It's so good. It's so good. Another HBO show that only lasted 2 seasons that a lot of people don't know about. It's called Mind of the Married Man. I really like that show a lot. Check it out if you can. I don't know where you'd find it, but it only went 2 seasons. Mind of the Married Man. Very good comedy. Little half-hour episodes about a guy who is married and has some kids, or his wife gets pregnant towards the end of like season 1, I think. But he's just, it's the mind of the married man. He's out with his friends. He's looking at other women. He gets involved with his, like one of his secretaries or something. And it's just, it's just funny. Like what do married guys think? Like, I don't know. It's good. It's funny. I loved it. Tales from the Dark Side is an honorable mention. Love it. Just love it because of how I found it as a very, very young kid. Like I found Tales of the Dark Side at like 8 years old, all by myself in my room, alone. Whoa, what is this? It's Tales from the Dark. Creepy music, creepy intro. That's actually the scariest part of the show is the intro and the music. But I love the weekly horror shorts. I love it. I own it. I've watched it straight through. Great stuff. Some episodes better than others, obviously, but Tales from the Dark Side is up there. Family Ties, like Leave It to Beaver, is a house that I would love to have grown up in. I love Family Ties. I love the house. Most of the episodes were in the house, and I love that set. I love the feel of that home. It's just 80s homey, and I love all the dynamics of the three siblings. They're all different in their own way. You got the hippie parents. The Democrat, the overly liberal Democrat parents, and then you got the Republican Michael J. Fox, and so good. Family Ties is so good. Here's one. Mad About You is actually on my honorable mentions list. That's another feel-good, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, relax on the couch, just zone out. Mad About You I love. Paul Reiser is one of the most annoying actors of all time. With his style, his acting style drives me nuts. Constantly joking about everything, and everything is like a one-liner. Blah. But I love their relationship. I love their apartment. Again, I think that's one of those TV shows where I kind of like put myself in there. That love the apartment in New York. The last modern show I probably ever watched was King of Queens. That's on my list. That's another antidepressant, anti-anxiety, lay around on the couch and watch and feel safe and comfortable. King of Queens, we watched pretty regularly. We watched it weekly, and then I went out and bought the box set. I love King of Queens. Kevin James and Leah Remini, great comedy. Kevin James is hilarious in this show. Love it. Love Jerry Stiller as the father, and hilarious. Those are major laugh out loud shows. Magnum PI, ladies and gentlemen. My man Upstate Johnny will agree. Magnum PI is a show that I'm currently watching, and I am up to almost season 7. There's 8 seasons. We're almost done with Magnum PI, and I love it. It is a great, great show. There are some slow episodes. There are some not so enjoyable episodes where you kind of like have to force yourself to stay focused. But it's great. Overall, it's great. And watching a show like this from start to finish, you get to see some interesting changes with characters, and you get to like people that you didn't like in the beginning, and characters take on more of an active role that they didn't have in the beginning. So it's really great. Magnum PI is fantastic. I know that there was a modern version of Magnum PI. I never saw a single episode. I have no idea. But go back and, if you want to sit around for 8 seasons, go check out Magnum PI. Golden Girls. Come on. Golden Girls I love. I just love. They when I call these shows like antidepressants, they really, like, if you're feeling crappy, lay on the couch and get a blanket and throw on a Golden Girls marathon, and you will feel better. You will feel better. They are hilarious. That is an extremely funny comedy where you will laugh. And not just the chuckle to yourself, but you will laugh at the Golden Girls because it's great. It is a great show. My final honorable mention, Beverly Hills 90210. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Yes, of course. Hated high school, hated every last drop of it, more than I could ever describe. But Beverly Hills 90210 was my opportunity to fantasize about being a cool kid in high school, and I loved it. And Jason Priestley is one of my favorite actors. Mega man crush on Jason Priestley, and I told him that when I met him. And in the picture that I took with him, he's laughing because I said, "You are my man crush." Yeah. So we took a picture at Chiller in New Jersey. I finally got to meet Jason Priestley, and he was as dreamy as I thought he would be. I love that show. Love it. It is so cheesy, and I roll my eyes at it all the time. But I love it. I even love the later episodes where they grow up and they start to have like adult problems, and they're in their. I mean, all those actors were like 45 years old when they were doing the show. But, I think the show starts to graduate to where they are like 45 or something. I don't know. They're adults. Right after college, they're adults. I don't know. Great. Beverly Hills 90210. Got that whole set. We'll watch that soon. That's that. That's my top 5. Went a little longer than I wanted because I got a lot to say about stuff that I like. The top 5: Dallas Wonder Years, Beaver, The Sopranos, and Seinfeld, and then the honorable mentions that we all talked about. What are yours? Put them below. I know a lot of guys are going to get on me about not liking Cheers or MASH or, all that stuff. Whatever. It's my top 5, and enjoy yours. That's that. That's the top 5 episode. See y'all next time. Good night now.